I found the next color. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. We're returning to the 2000s era of Gibson. What color did I find this time? It's the gold and orange version of the non-reverse Firebird. Not gonna lie, wasn't digging this one that much at first, but now that I see it in person, yeah, that's like a cool lava flow finish. Yeah, that's nice, especially the neck. Just as a quick recap, a couple of months ago, I found a blue one over on Reverb. I purchased it, decided to document it, and that's when we talked about the 3 different colors they produced. A blue one, an orange one, and a green one. But to my surprise, a couple of weeks later, on eBay shows up one of these at an open auction. But it was one of those auctions that also let you make an offer before any bids it went on, so I put the same amount on this one, and it was declined. So I just decided to watch it, see how it goes. But on Mother's Day, I'm taking the family to the beach, and I happen to notice this thing gets posted onto Reverb for the exact same price as the opening bid over on eBay, and the listing was hot. It had like 5 offers within 5 minutes, so I put my best offer in, but then the Reverb listing said it was sold. I didn't know if it actually accepted an offer or if it was taken down, but I saw the eBay ad was still available, so I decided to make a new offer, and it was declined. And at that point, I just thought, okay, they realized they had it listed in 2 places, but after a day, it was still on eBay, so it made me think, was the Reverb seller even legit, or did he just steal these photos? So I made a new offer that was higher than what it sold for, and it was declined. Then about a week or so later, I get a new offer that's cheaper than my initial offer, so it's like, okay. But hey, it ended up showing up, so now I have 2 of the 3 colors in the collection. So most of this review is just going to be a recap. Non-reverse Firebirds, still not my favorite thing in the world, but when they have a cool custom finish like this, it's nice. My favorite thing about them has to be the fact that they paint over the edge of the fretboard, but yet they still have to mask off the dot inlays. That's a lot of fun. This one is birthed in the year 2002, and it desperately needs cleaned up. Just like our last one, we've got the whole corroded frets needing some help. But besides just our new cool guitar, we also have 2 professional photo shoots of this one, just like the blue one. And miraculously, we have a matching COA, matching as in the colors, and all of our other good case candy. So let's go ahead and throw this one over on the workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs. While cleaning this one up, I noticed something that's different about this color. It's got gold hardware. Even the knobs are gilded out, whereas our previous blue one was nickel. Likely because gold probably would not have looked that good with blue. So I think that's why this one looks so different, but let's go ahead and dive into our electronics. You've got the open coils on both of your pickups. However, they do still have a cover around them, it's just the top has been sliced off. And on our pickguard, we've got our white Firebird, and this is made of metal. And here's what our pickup routes are looking like underneath that. And you can appreciate the rest of the finish that you don't normally see because it's covered over. It's just a cool continuation of the magma flow finish. These would look really nice next to my Silver Flow Les Paul Elegant. As far as the pickups themselves, you got a Burstbucker 2 in the neck and a Burstbucker 3 in the bridge. That is the same pickup set as last time. However, our stickers are just a little bit different. Like for example, this one doesn't even have the sticker and has an M written on it. And this one has this style. So this must have been a transitional era to when they started doing this style. Because if you look at the water slide decal that these ones do have, it's the 90s style PAF. But there's a look at our toggle switch. Now normally non-reverse Firebirds, they do not have humbuckers, so that's part of what makes these special. They're kind of hot-rodded vintage examples that are refinished in these crazy swirls, saying, hey, we're bringing this model back, look how crazy these new ones are. That's why they brought a few of them to NAMM. But if you missed the last episode, these even have a vintage-style coil split switch just to make it look like an old modification, because Gibson was totally using push-pull pots by now, but they chose to do the mini toggle, so you can split your pickups. As far as our controls, it's neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone, and kind of a weird setup with your output jack on the front. So our bridge is 8.28 k ohms, the neck is Bob, and the middle for fun 4.09. Well, let's see how he fares when we split him in half. 4.12 in the neck, 4.35 in the bridge, and again, more fun, 2.11. But here's the downside to this being gold hardware. Being locked in a case for 20 plus years is not actually good for the gold. I believe the strap buttons are actually brass plated. For whatever reason, the off-gassing of the finish just eats the plating on them. I've seen this multiple times over the years. Even on the tailpiece you can see some of that, but thankfully the actual nice stuff usually fares okay after a polishing. This is a full weight tailpiece. And being historic spec, these have a real Gibson ABR1 bridge with wire retainer. Mounted historically, just with a post in the body, no studs. So if you're wondering why it looks like our output jack nut is burnt, it's because of the same effect that would have started life gold. It has a cool vibe with this one because it's like burning magma fire. It has burnt up your strap buttons. It's burnt the pickup so badly they're no longer covered. I wasn't going to be that sad if this one happened to have gotten away from me, but now that I have it, I'm really glad. Did you notice there's actually some green within this? So it's a bit of red, yellow, and green. So it's a ketchup relish mustard type of guitar too. But let's move on from our mahogany body. You've got the mahogany neck with our rosewood fretboard. The frets are looking a little bit better. I did a steel wool and a polishing job. With frets that badly corroded, you have to use steel wool first, or you're gonna have to do your regular polishings like 2 or 3 different times to get through all that crud. But you've got some nice coloring within our fretboard too. It's nice and streaky. Possible this could be Madagascar rosewood, like we saw on that cool Purple Sparkle 1957 reissue that we documented in this episode. But here's another cool look at our edge markers. I just love that effect with the paint running all up the neck there. This one measures 1.71 inches at the nut, 2.07 by the 12. First fret neck depth 0.86 and 0.97 by the 12. Here's a look at that neck profile at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. It actually has more of like a D-shaped neck to it. It's got a very noticeable shoulder right there, and then it contours off really quickly. So it feels wider than it looks. It's a nice rounded C shape. I wouldn't necessarily call it a baseball bat, but it's definitely within that medium to large territory. And now we can move on to our headstock. Without the giant truss rod cover on it, it would look like this. But the cover this time, just like the pick guard, is gold with a white logo. And our truss rod's good on this one, doesn't seem to have ever been moved. And thankfully our tuners didn't get too corroded. I mean, they've got some to it, but it's not as bad as the Spider-Man Les Paul. That one was locked up a little bit longer than these, and not stored in as good of condition. The mild tarnishing that we do have just adds to the vibe, because I have learned, do not clean the tuners off because there will be no plating left. Got her all strung back up now. There's one more thing I wanted to point out. Just like the blue one, they also paint the top of the nut, the edge of the nut, and if you get really close into there, they paint the very edge of the fret. So I guess you could say you have paint nibs on these. But now on the backside, you can see more of the green get incorporated into the paint job, especially in this area right here and a little bit down here by our control cavity. Speaking of which, here's what our wiring is looking like. You've just got your Gibson branded pots. You don't have any fancy reissue capacitors or anything like that. But there's the backside of our mini toggle. And you can see all the paint they got in here too. But these were definitely well kept. I mean, outside of just having a patina from sitting in the case, these are minty fresh. But the side profile shot is one of my favorites of this one, especially right here because it's more of that magma look. They went a little bit too heavy on the yellow over here, but this is that really good swirl job. I'd be curious how they did this particular paint job. And I was kind of curious about finish checking lines, you know, where the neck joins to the body. How is that going to look? Is it going to be terrible in a couple of years? Well, you can see the lacquer sink line right here if you get it in the light just right. However, most angles you actually don't see it at all, so it does appear to stand the test of time. Now we can move up the backside of the neck. Some more flamage going on. Every single one's a little bit different. I think the neck is just great on this one. And this is kind of funny. It reminds me of a headstock break, but it's just variation in the color. Here you can see your custom shop decal as well. But we've got custom shop serial 21485 with our Mini Grover tuners. And the serial number is actually close for this, 21473. Not that that really matters though, because this style serial number, you've got 5 digits after your CS, so that tells you you're within the 2000s era, and your first digit tells you what year, so 2002. So this is the 1485th guitar produced that particular year. So this might have been one neck that got stamped and then it's a Les Paul custom next. But you can track serial numbers to help you identify different examples. We'll eventually figure out how many they made of these. So far, I did have one person contact me, and when he bought his, which was the same color, the dealer told him 25 were made. That sounds about right as far as like all the colors, like maybe they made 8 of each. But I highly doubt that there were 25 of each color. But also said and done, our Fireboy weighs 7 pounds, 13.3 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this one sounds. That blue one was not a fluke. I've had other people message me that own these as well. Both of these pickups are wired out of phase from the factory, only in the humbucking mode. So that quacky tone, that's intentional. But if you coil split it, it kind of tames it down a bit. This thing's got a couple of really nice tones. Coil splits, they're not my favorite. Look good if you need to get to slightly telly territory. Sounds good just slightly overdriven like that. That bridge pickup, just a fire breather. That neck is nice and juicy too. There we go, our Lava Flow one. Wasn't expecting to like this one as much as I did. There's some nice tones, and the color combination surprisingly works well in person. You have to appreciate this one in the flesh, I think. Or maybe I'm the only one that needed convinced on it. The gold is a nice touch on these. I mean, are these the best swirl jobs I've ever seen? No, but they're refreshing, and if you're gonna own one of these non-reverse Firebirds, it might as well be interesting, because sadly, there's just not that many cool non-reverse Firebirds out there, in my opinion anyways. But I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Just gotta hunt down that green one now for the complete set. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.